In politics, one of the factors which define agitation for power is interest. When there are conflicts or clash of interests among a top hierarchy, leaders of political parties find themselves in the jugular of one another. At a time when the APC has assumed the newest bride in Nigeria because of defectors, Benue and Nasarawa State are leading the political crew jostling to succeed Abdullahi Gandoje as national chairman of the APC, while assuming office during a meeting with the National Working Committee of the APC at the party's headquarters in Abuja. Borno State-born Ali Bukaro Daluri calls on members of the party to strengthen their internal processes, reconnect with their grassroots, and re-energize the structures of the party across all levels to pave way.
Well, joining us to discuss the ongoing crisis within the opposition People's Democratic Party and to explore potential solutions to the chaos in the party is a member of the PDP Board of Trustees, Chief Bode George. He's also a former Deputy National Chairman South of the party. Thank you very much for joining us on Newsnight. I'm sure you had a smile on your face when you just, listened to that last report. It looks like APC is about to experience what the PDP looks like it's coming out from. But thank you very much for joining us.
It's my pleasure.
First, now that the embattled National Secretary of the PDP in the person of Sam Anyanwu has been officially reinstated as National Secretary, by the NEC. Number one, as a member of the Board of Trustees, are you in support of this reinstatement? First off, your thoughts, and does this spell the beginning of the end of the crisis within the PDP?
Let me, first of all, thank you for giving me this opportunity to report at the apex level of the goings on. The delay was caused by the lack of immediate meeting of the NEC, because after the National Convention, which is the highest body, legally, the next body is the NEC. Right. And we hadn't had any NEC for a couple of months. So this crisis lingered for too long. There's no political organization, including a normal industrial organization, that will not have crisis. But the ability of the managers to come together, maybe at the board or at the management level, they will shout, they will debate, they would agree, they would disagree. But the beauty of it is that at the final position, you are able to resolve your crisis. That will be a measure of your competence. It's all over. I'm at this age now. I've seen the ups and downs of life. I've been in so many organizations. I was in the military, retired, joined the civil authorities, and I've seen it before. So when people kept talking about one individual cannot disrupt the Iroko political party of this country. And so when the elders waited in, and I must congratulate and thank the Governors Forum, thank the Board of Trustees members, and thank all the other members of the working committee who have finally now agreed. The younger generations cannot but behave. It's normal. But when the elders do come, they tell them, like they say in Hausa language, kadang kada. In Igbo language, they say wayo wayo.
Wayo wayo.
And in Yoruba language, they say dear dear. So tejeje. And so today, June 30th is the last day of the first half of the year.
Indeed.
It is not our making, but God's making, that we have resurrected.
Okay.
No matter what Anyanwu will be thinking or whether he's happy or not happy, the fact that they've given him that breather gives him another opportunity, all right, to make sure that if he ends well as a secretary, he becomes a life member of the Board of Trustees. So these, but if the battle continues, he won't be able to enjoy that. Why am I a life member of the Board of Trustees? Is because I was once the National Vice Chairman Southwest, Deputy National Chairman South, then became Deputy National Chairman overall. I spent 10 years there.
All right. Chief George, it's glad to see you in high spirits because earlier in the day you were locked out of the PDP headquarters, you were livid, you called it an insult to the elders of the party, and you did say it was not a personal enterprise of anybody.
Absolutely.
But now you're here, and I think congratulations are in order. Some would say all is well that ends well.
Right.
Or perhaps the calm before the storm. But let me ask you my question, which centers around Senator Samuel Anyanwu. Initially rejected by some powerful blocs and organs of your party, and is now reinstated. Some call it a full circle. Can you tell Nigerians how you arrived at this decision? Was this a reluctant compromise or a surrender to some factional pressure?
Let me tell you, in a political organization, you can't win it all the time. You win some, you lose some. The beauty of it, I've stated it earlier, is the fact that, just look like a family. You know, if you have a quarrel, because not everybody will agree with daddy or mommy, especially when they are growing up. You will have differences. You will disagree, but you must never be disagreeable. And you should not carry your problems to the marketplace for discussion. We kept saying, call the meeting of NEC, let's get inside. Of course, some people will howl, some people will be shouting, some people will be unhappy, some people, but the interest of the party is far reliable, dependable, because the members of the public who are going to vote for you to tell you that we trust you are more than those card-carrying members of the party. So it is the national interest first than personal interest.
So this was a compromise?
A hell of a lot of compromise. If you don't compromise in life, even between you and your husband, I tell you what my mom told me when I was young. I have two sisters, one older, one younger. I was the only male. He would look at me and he would say, Bode, you think when you are lucky to have a good wife and she looks at you smiling, it means that she loves you. Because sometimes what she said was that we men think that we are so smart. No, you can't win it all.
Right.
The women are naturally gifted. They have a deeper introspection of life. Your husband will think, oh, it's okay, and you don't know. But you know a hell of a lot.
Because the woman chooses not to talk about everything she sees.
They have the introspection.
Yes.
And I've learned that lesson, and I am telling all our people, we have a caveat. Because Anyanwu has been out, he also must moderate his activities, not to come back and say, I'm going to deal with this or deal with that. That is not the essence of camaraderie.
Right.
I will, I've said it before here, that once, by the time we finish the convention, there will be zoning again and rotation, and there will be a lot of movements, and we are not going to do our own by NEC to appoint a new chairman. we go to the national convention. That's
Right.
the difference between the Iroko political party
Which is the PDP.
and the APC, you know.
Okay, so now this meeting, this NEC meeting
Right.
you had today, there are indications that there were factions that held their own, like the Arapaja, faction
Right. Yeah.
held his own
Meetings before.
meetings
Yeah.
at the same Wadata,
Yeah.
plaza.
Yeah.
We're hearing of the Sheyi Makinde faction, and we're also hearing of the Wike faction, where you have Mutfwang, Fintiri, Bala Mohammed, and the rest of them. With this backdrop, can you truly say that the PDP is now one family that is, charting a new course for itself? What do you make of these factions, in spite of what you say is a movement forward?
I can confidently tell you that the meeting for today is a resurrection of the party. Now, those who want, we have our rules, we have the laws, we have the ground norm of the party. Those who cannot abide by the ground norm, in other words, our constitution, you show them the way. This party doesn't belong to any individual. There is no Nami, Minimuni. No, we
Are
don't
you ready
do
to
that.
show those people the way now? Those who
No,
you say
if they cannot, the
Right.
discussion was, see, an individual cannot, I can't tell you, I'm going to fire this, I'm going to do this. You would discuss it at the meeting. It is the meeting, collective meeting, that will make the decision. That's what makes it the Iroko political party. No individual. We messed up the last convention, the last presidential convention. And that led us to where we are today. We've learned a lesson. That's why I said, thank God, June 30th is the last month of the half year. From tomorrow is a new beginning for the party. We will convince the people. We will talk to the people that, I tell you what, one thing that even happened before I came for this meeting.
Yes.
Some of the members of the elders in my party in Lagos were saying, "Sir, what are you going to do? The PDP is finished." I looked at them. I said, "You are still a member of this party? Do you go to your family house and tell them the family is finished? If you have a problem and you are really deep, so it's not only money, intellect, character. These are tenets that you require in living a good life."
All right. We can only wish your party the best. You
You
say
bet.
it's a rebirth
Yeah.
and
rebirth.
a new dawn. Fingers
the
crossed.
PDP.
Chief Olabode George is a member of the People's Democratic Party Board of Trustees. Thank you so much for being here on
My
Newsnight.
pleasure.
We
I was
appreciate
going
it.
to read to you
Okay.
one thing that the prayer that I had.
very
That's
Can we do that in
very
20
quickly.
seconds?
Yes,
Yes.
if you can. Very
Quickly.
Yes,
Yes.
please.
It is the spiritual tonic for divine principle of humanity. Last night, I said the reason so many people fail to experience this divine principle is that they expect to receive it without a struggle. When conflict comes and the battle rages, they become discouraged and surrender. The Almighty God has nothing worth having that is easily gained. For there are no cheap goods on the heavenly market. The cost of redemption was everything God has to give, and anything worth having is expensive. Difficult times and places are our schools of faith and character. If we are ever to rise above mere human strength and experience the power of the life of God in our mortal bodies, it will be through the process of conflict that can be called the labor of pains in our lives.
Chief Bode George, very wise words from none other than a wise man like yourself. I mean, and this applies to everyone, not just politicians. Chief Olabode George, member, PDP Board of Trustees, thank you very much for joining us.
Always
and for those
my pleasure.
wise words.
Food for thought for the PDP.
Yeah.